Jurors decided the state was negligent in how it handled Charlie and Braden Powell. The boys were murdered by their father while they were supposed to be in protective custody. As a result, state taxpayers will now have to pay nearly $100 million in damages.
Josh Powell had been a person of interest in the disappearance of his wife, Susan Powell, who was reported missing in December of 2009 in Utah. Josh told police he was camping with his boys when she vanished. He and the boys later moved to Puyallup, and as police in Utah investigated, the state of Washington decided the boys were not safe at Powell's home. He had 20 supervised visits with the boys before in February of 2012, he killed himself and the boys at his Pierce County home. Susan Powell's parents sued the state and will now receive $98 million in damages. Charles Cox, the boys' grandfather, says he doesn't believe it's entirely over and doesn't expect to see the money, but any money he does see will be used to help other people dealing with custody issues.
Now, at least, because it went through the courts, because everybody saw what's going on, because we're talking to people, not only will the verdict show that they were negligent, and everything in the court case shows how, because we clearly showed how they were, where they were negligent. Now, hopefully we can hold them accountable.
The trial started in February but was put on hold due to the pandemic. It resumed earlier this month. Ann Brimner, the attorney for the Cox family, says we face so many legal obstacles to get the trial and then the extraordinary circumstances of trying the case in the midst of a pandemic. We are so gratified by the jury's verdict and their commitment to justice.
State attorneys had originally argued that Josh Powell was the only person to blame for what happened to the boys. In Tacoma, Britt Moore, King 5 News.